morning, everybody out there in the internet world. So excited to always be here with you guys, to always be here with you guys. And today, our topic is okay, what is our topic, Amanda? Do you have it in front of you?
Managing mismatched libidos.
Managing mismatched libidos. Oh, so I'm so excited to hear what y'all are going to say about it. But before we go into like what you can do about it, I need to normalize it for everybody because we still get still in 2025, we get calls, we get questions, we get inquiries from clients who say, we're just not matched in this area. Mm-hmm. Okay. Nobody is. Okay. And the one couple or the couples, I will say more than one, the couples that synced up and they were matched for a while at the beginning of the relationship because new love energy matched new love energy. That doesn't last beyond 2 years, max 2 years. And the latest research is about 18 months. Mm-hmm. And so that doesn't last. And so I would like for everybody to stop expecting for your libidos to be matched. If we can just throw that out the window and understand that our libidos are going to be mismatched from the beginning, I feel like that would cut off, Jessica, what would you say, like half the heartache? Mm-hmm. At least half the heartache that people feel. Stop expecting it to be matched. And then at that point, then we can just say, okay, I know I'm going to be with somebody who's going to be mismatched from me. And it may not even be the same mismatch at the same time. Mm-hmm. So for example, I'll give y'all an example from TV. Samantha on Sex and the City was dating a guy named, I think she called him Smith or something.
Yes.
So she's dating him. They were pretty much matched. And then he moved to Hollywood. His career started taking off. And now they're no longer matched anymore. Okay. Because he's working all the time. And when he gets home, he's tired. So he's working all the time. Now they're mismatched. Okay. And so same people in the relationship, they really haven't changed, but one person's occupation changed and it changed the libido. And so that can happen over and over and over again. So this set of 5 years, because we have small kids, one person is low, the other person's high. The next set of 5 years, because now I'm all active and I'm back in the gym and the kids are finally in school. And now I might be the higher sex person, or you were the higher sex person until you started working that night job, or till one of your parents got sick and now you're just struggling with a little bit of depression. And so you because your world is changing because you're dealing with the grief and dying. And so I just need people to fundamentally understand that mismatched desire is like any other thing in the relationship. It just has to be negotiated, compromised on, talked about, and you have to make a plan for it. So I was thinking this morning, I'm gonna write an article. Don't quote me on that. In my head, I'm gonna write an article called "Atomic Habits for Your Sex Life." Because the book Atomic Habits talks about not necessarily having a goal, but putting habits in place that'll have you reach your goal. So putting the things in place. So as opposed to trying to lose 100 pounds, don't worry about the 100-pound goal. Focus on what are like 3 things that I could do consistently. What 3 habits that I could build consistently that would have me at that goal. That's all. And then you focus on, okay, these are the habits I need to build. This is the system that I need to build to have the habits. And then we'll eventually get to the goal, but we don't focus on whether we hit the goal or not. We just focus on how good are we at the habit. 12-week work year kind of talks about the same thing. You don't worry about the end goal. You worry about what's the system and the habits of the system running well. So if my habit is to eat a smoothie for breakfast, like how many times did I hit that habit? Did I make it 7 out of the 7 days of the week? Only 4. Okay, what do I need to improve? How do I need to improve the system? So I hit that every week. And so I want couples looking at that, especially if mismatched desire, because that's just a norm of the relationship. Okay, so what do we need in place so that we have sex at the amount that we would like to have sex in this relationship? And it could be, okay, we both have to take showers every day. Simple habit, But you see how that would help with your sex life? Like that. Or it could be um, we both make sure we keep up with our um, appointments, our hair appointments, our health appointments. For a lot of people, a fresh new haircut makes you look better. And I don't know if you actually look better or you just feel more confident because you paid attention to yourself. And so that could be a habit that will help create, because if you're feeling better about yourself and you're feeling more confident about yourself, you're more likely to wink or to smile at your partner. And so that might be something that you put in place so that you guys are able to hit your goal of that. So I've said a lot. And there are other two people on the line who would probably like to speak and who have wise things to say. So, okay, I turn it over. Who wants to go first?
I'll go. I've been seeing unbalanced libido a lot lately, and it's coming from a lot of couples who feel like they're so in sync in other areas they just don't understand why is this an issue for us. And a lot of times, like you said, a lot of the life stressors of the day, it can impact you in the bedroom. So going over like your schedule to see what is important to you, how does this match up, it can really give you better insight, because certain medications, exhaustion from physical activity, it can dampen your libido a lot to where you see that roller coaster of up and down. And it could not be the relationship. It could just be the stressors of the day. A lot of people want to blame things on hormones. It could be that. It can be some anxiety, some depression, stuff at work. It can be a lot of different things. So we just have to look at what's going on in our life outside the bedroom and try to connect the dots there.
That's so good. Okay, before I jump back in, Amanda, what would you like to add?
I love that, like
Yes.
thinking about sex outside the bedroom. And I think that another piece of that can be redefining what intimacy is in your relationship.
Oh,
I think when we lean in and we try to get to the root of what people are, what their problem really is, or what they're really seeking, a
yeah.
lot of times it's not necessarily penetrative sex, right? It's
Mm-hmm.
just a hug or being that like close to the person that you love or care about.
Yeah.
Um, and that intimacy can be a cuddle on the couch, it can be making dinner together.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and it can be sex. It does, but it doesn't have to be one particular thing for the whole time of your relationship.
Oh,
Um,
that's so good. Yeah. And I want couples to have that conversation more often.
yes.
I think a lot of people want sex to be like fix it and forget it. Like
Yeah.
we good. We never have to bother it or tweak it again. It should run on automatic. We should be in sync, like you just got finished saying. Like we should be in sync, and that's just not true. And so, as you change as a person, your appetite for sex will change. Your need for sex will change. Your desire for sex will change. And what does that look like? And so, for a 20-year-old, hanging from the chandelier may be a need that we have. All right, for a 40-year-old, probably not so much anymore. For a 60-year-old, definitely not. And an 80-year-old, I don't even need to have sex at night anymore. If it could just happen, like we're good. And so, what does that look like and what needs does it feel? And so, I think anybody who's aged a little bit can say, my need and what sex did for me in my 20s is completely different from what it does for me in my 40s, which still feels different than what it does for me in my 60s and 70s. And so, because in the 20s it's such an active activity, I feel like in the 40s it's a connecting, healing activity, just because life is rough. And then 60s is probably more of a connection activity. And so, what does sex need to look like to provide for my needs where they currently are? So, I want
Yeah.
couples having that conversation. I'd like you to have it minimally yearly. If y'all at least had it every other year, that would still work too. At the beginning, maybe even 5 years, because I can see how it doesn't change much between 25 and 30. But it probably will really start feeling the changes between 30 and 40. And
Mhm.
so just continuing to have these conversations. What is sex doing for you these days? What do you think would be better? Okay. What else do y'all want to say?
I want to say, oh, go, you go ahead.
No,
Sorry.
go ahead.
Okay, I was going to say pleasure, as we always talk about, is all about perception. So if you're going through a lot of different things throughout the day, intimacy and sex can look different for you. And to make it more of an importance, we always talk about how the brain is your most powerful sexual organ. So you have to see something as a sexual stimulant so it can send that signal down the spinal cord to your pelvic and let that little tide of blood flow go into your genitals. So if your perception is very clogged or fogged by what is normal sex or what is normal intimacy, or you're comparing yourself to other people like social media and movies and porn, it's going to clog up that area where you can actually see and receive something as being sexually stimulating. And it's going to be like at a crossroads there where
Mm-hmm.
you don't know where to go, and it's not going to go down to your genitals. You're going to be stuck in your head.
Say that part. Okay. All right. You want to say any more? I want you to say so
Oh,
much more.
good. Okay.
I think that was such a just a good practical. Like we got to remember that like that sex is predictable. That sex is a thing that you can cause to happen. And I think we have so many clients that just sit in this space of, well, I'm not feeling desire. Okay, okay. I feel like at least once a week I'm telling somebody to throw desire out the window. Like just
Mhm.
throw it out the window because you're waiting for it to appear and to be something and it's not and it's holding you back. And no other points in our life do we wait for desire to show up. You know, like if we all waited for our desire for food before we fed our kids, it wouldn't go like that.
Mhm.
Or if I waited for my desire for work to show up before I showed up to work, like it doesn't work like that. Or even a desire to hang out with somebody before it shows up. It might not show up for various other reasons, not bad reasons. And we do these things whether the desire is there or not because we want our lives to work in a certain way. And so I would love for people to just throw desire out the window and say, I need to do this because my relationship works better when I do, because we feel more connected as a couple when I do, because it's a way for me to take space and to get away from life for a little while before I do. And I know I need this going into this week. And so just, yes, throw desire out the window, throw normal out the window, throw, so much to say about normalness that I'm not going to go there. I'm going to give you the floor, Amanda. Please throw normal out the window because there is really no normal. And it doesn't need to be a normal. It needs to be what works for you in your relationship right now. This relationship, where it is right now. Not this relationship where it was 10 years ago, but this relationship where it is right now. And really making sure we're having an understanding of what that is. I think most people will say they're not the same person they were 10 years ago. And so it makes sense that your needs are going to be different, your desires and wants are going to be different. And so you have to have conversations about, okay, what does sex do for us now? What do we want it to do for us now? And how do we meet in the middle? Okay, so you're wanting less of it, I'm wanting more of it right now. How do we meet in the middle? How do we work as partners in this? Just trying to accomplish the common goal of a great relationship as opposed to enemies. You're trying to get something from me I don't want to give, or I'm trying to take something from you that you don't want to give. And so I'm always working with my clients on, can we get partnership? Can we join? Can we see how we together can solve this problem as opposed to enemies, adversarials? You're trying to take something from me. You won't give something to me. It's purposeful. And okay, just partnerships. How do we work together? So, okay. Amanda, what do you want to say?
I
Feel like I'm
think
hot today, like I'm on fire. Like,
I love everything you're saying, and something I would encourage, in that vein of like throw normal out the window. I've worked a lot with folks with religious trauma and like cultural gender trauma, and I
mm,
want especially women and people that have come from maybe a religious background that was not sex positive, drop the stigma that having a libido is somehow, or a higher libido than your partner is somehow abnormal. It's we have sex for a lot of different reasons, right? Some of it is for connection, some is stress relief. Um, just because your libido is higher than your partner doesn't mean that your need is like less real than like hunger or a need for
Yeah.
shelter. Like it's something you need. Like sexual needs are real. And I think that if you really do not match up with your partner, let's say your libido is much higher, like consider masturbation as part of your like way to manage your libido. And for both partners, it can be a great way for self-exploration and also a great way to release sexual energy
Mhm.
uh, while not pressuring your partner
Yeah.
um, if you're really just not matching up at the moment. Like, don't
Mhm.
consider it. And I hope I didn't phrase it in a way that makes it seem like a secondary alternative. Like, incorporate that into your sex practice if it's not already, because it
Definitely
can
so.
really you help. I've seen it help a lot of people like normalize their desire and also like
Mhm.
feel good about it and also feel more connected to their partner in the end because they're not doing that chase denial chase denial
Right?
hurry up and stop
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
so that's something I think can be really successful.
No, I think you're right. And it goes to when couples are having these conversations, what all is on our sexual menu. And so we may need to have a very different sexual menu at 40 than we did at 20 than we might have at 60. And having that conversation and acknowledging that and what's all of the different ways we could put together a sex life that might work for us. And so there is no one right way. There's no, I know I probably say this all the time because I really believe it. There's no one way. There's no one way up the mountain. Like however you get there is how you get there. And so if you guys need to plug in or pull in, okay, we'll do this kink play this day. We'll do this day. We'll do masturbation this day and intercourse this day, oral sex this day to get something that works for the both of you, then that's what you need to do. And you're not broken and you're not abnormal and you're not like anything. You're two human beings who are trying to figure out how to make a relationship work, you know? And so if you're doing it and it's working for you and both of you guys, it's good enough. So Barry McCarthy, he has this good enough sex model, which we're just trying to find what's good enough for both people to stay in the relationship. What's good enough. And so we are not, and a lot of couples expect that, right? That I'm supposed to have fireworks, sex every day of the relationship for every day of my life. And that is not realistic, nowhere, no how. That every sexual experience is supposed to be great, even if we only have it once a year. That's still not expected. No way, no how. That's not realistic. And so getting the numbers, finding out what's realistic, and just being okay with wherever you are. So there's this pillow when I was in the office yesterday, and it was saying, it's a quote by Carl Rogers. And it was like, oddly enough, when I accept myself, it gives me the ability to change. And so it's such a wonderful quote. And it is so funny, right? When we just accept, okay, we are where we are. I like what I like. You like what we like. Okay, now where's the meat in the middle? There's an ease and a peace that goes with that acceptance that now makes room for us to be creative and come up with some alternatives that will work for us. So, okay. All right. What else is coming up?
I like how you mentioned, Natalie, like having a menu or scheduling that this day we do this day we do that. I think that scheduling sex can be really sexy. I know a couple who have been partnered for over 20 years, and they have like a standing day of the week, like you know then they have a standing day of the week of like we're going to sexually connect this day. They have mismatched libidos, but having that practice in place, like they each have something to look forward to. And I think they would also say that flexibility is important with that scheduling. Like
Yeah.
sometimes you just don't feel good.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's the beauty in a strong, secure relationship. Like you can have it on the schedule, but also
Yeah.
respond, be flexible in everyone's needs. But once you have that practice in place, it can be a really just like nice, comfortable thing to look forward to.
It
Um,
is. I've
And
seen that help so many couples. And
I
it's so
don't.
funny that so many couples are resistant to it. Like, no, I shouldn't have to schedule it. And then they schedule it, and it's just like, oh, God. Because what it does is it relieves attention, especially if there's this kind of um, distance or pursuer thing going on in the relationship, you know? And so if I know every Wednesday at 9 is going to happen, I don't have to chase you anymore. And you don't have to run anymore. I don't have to
Mm-hmm.
ask you anymore. And so it brings about this peace. And then for my couples that still had pressure, because like, okay, but what if 9, I'm not going to be ready? Okay. And then we come up with several different things that could happen. And so
Right.
one of my couples, it was so nice that they figured out that yes, sex would be great, but just laying together naked and just talking also worked. That it still fulfilled that physical connection that they needed. Because one partner was depressed and just like some days are just bad days, and I can't guarantee it won't be on a Wednesday. And
Yeah.
so those are the type of things that we want you guys doing to figure out, like, make something that works for you. And like rituals in a relationship are always going to win. It's always going to win and always feel bonding. So, okay. All right, Jessica Addison.
When you said that, I thought about I have clients who have kids and they have a busy workflow to where I have them do some sensate focus exercises to
Mm-hmm.
where something simple as I do an in session where I ask each one, what's your favorite body part of each other? And one might say arm, one might say the thigh. So I put on some real sexy jazz music, just instrumental. And for 3 minutes, they just have to caress while they have their eyes closed, that part. And I have them laying like on each other. And I asked them, like, how does it feel afterwards? And they felt very relaxed, very connected. And that was just 3 minutes. I said, you guys, this is something that you can do at home in front of your kids. One person puts one earbud in, the other person gets the other. And it's not too much PDA. Your kids are not going to be grossed out. And you don't know that you have invested in your intimacy bank without having to be butt naked in front of people or like having sex. And they're like, yeah. And it only took 3 minutes.
I
Wow.
love that.
I love that too. Y'all are such brilliant therapists. Oh my gosh. Wish I could get therapy from y'all sometimes because it's so creative and it makes it
Mhm.
so simple. Because I think a lot of our clients, especially when it matched libido, what has happened actually is all of the feelings have gotten in the way. And so it's hard for them to come up with simple solutions.
Yeah.
And so it's just like the feelings and the emotions and everything. And so I think one couple, it wasn't the sex at all. It was just getting to it. And so when we
Mhm.
help them learn how to communicate better, like this is one of those cases where you don't get to talk about sex, but it's definitely a sex case because that's why they came. But you don't get to talk about sex. It was the communication is how they were talking about it. And so giving them better ways to communicate, tools to communicate, then it just started working. And like it was just all the hurt feelings and communication around it. And so anytime you can approach your partner as a partner to fix the outside solution is going to be better than the you, and I hate you.
Yeah. I'm glad you said something about language too, because I've had couples to where like one person was not in the mood, and they know when the other partner came home, like they wanted to have sex, and I was like, well, so what did you do? I just kind of like got myself ready and forced myself to just get ready. And I said, did you hear what you just said?
Mm-hmm.
You had to force yourself to get ready. What about that statement sounds sexy?
Right.
It
Yeah.
doesn't. You shouldn't have to force yourself. It's okay. And then we have to teach couples how to say no and reject certain things and not feel rejected as a person. We're just rejecting the act because sex is going to clash with my stressors, my anxiety right now, my energy to be able to be very present. Sometimes you're mental. So that's not going to be good for me.
Mm-hmm.
So let's take a rain check.
Even just the language on that, I have to force myself, as opposed to I was open to the idea.
Mm.
I got open. I got open to the idea and what does that look like? And so, with a lot of couples, we talk about what are the bridges to desire? What's that thing that we can do in the middle that'll be a bridge from where you are to where we need to be sexual? And so I love that. I love all of it. Okay, we are out of time. It's our last minute. Okay, takeaways real quick, Amanda. One last takeaway sentence.
Um, just like I say so often, like so much of these struggles, the meat of it is communication. So don't be afraid of communicating. Yeah, that's my takeaway.
Same, same.
All right. Well, then I will third that communication is key. Please talk. Please learn how to talk to each other. And if you can't figure it out, call us. We're here to help you through the really hard conversations and get and teach you the skills to make it through on your own eventually one day. All right. Bye, ladies. Y'all have a great day.
Have a good day.